Hey people, this is the Broken Puppet, back with another video for today. This one is how to draw an old school gentleman face. Now it's the old kind of school face, so it's not completely realistic, but it's really stylized. Now I do a variation with tattoos, so if you want it to look really old traditional, just take out the tattoos and you got that, or if you want it to look a bit more modern, put the tattoos in. But yeah, talk through line work, shading, highlights, everything you want to know. I'm sure you love it. So yeah, I'll see you next time. Right people, how to draw an old school face. Now it's going to be a man's face this time. It's going to be on a gentleman style. And if you want to be really classic old school gentleman, just take out the tattoos if you want. I'm going to put the tattoos just to give it a bit of a fresher vibe to it. You've got a side view, 3/4 length, front view. I'm going to teach you the side view one today, I think. Really simple this to start with, just drawing a box. Ain't got to be neat, just anyhow. Just plot it in there. Divide it into 4. So it's like a little window shape. And to start with, line like a curve coming from the back here. Kind of coming down across that line there. The same on this side, kind of, you want to curve this edge, this corner bit, just curve in that corner. So you're pretty much touching the front of this bit here. Now, from here, sketch a little line just coming across there and back like an L shape just here. So you come just a little bit low onto this bit. Curve this point here, and from here just flick this line curving up and coming up just past that line. Curve a little line down here, you ain't got to do this, but I'll teach you a bit afterwards. Now that basically gives you the structure of the face shape. Now like I said, real simple, you basically just plot it in, little curve here, curve here. You don't want it to be too round, you want it to be more curved and a little bit kind of straightish on top, and curve here. Now from this, where you've done this little L shape, just curve outwards, so you're curving onto that line we just done there. So you can see this is where the nose is obviously going to be, this is where the chin's going to be, and this is where the eyebrow shape's going to be. Now from this curve, you want this to be, make sure this little bit here is above this line. Curve back to the centre bit. You see where you've done this line originally, the centre piece? Curve that across, going through that curve just there. That gives you an idea of the eyebrow. From there as well, you can curve in another little line just very, very lightly. Another one a little bit lower. Cutting just a little bit lower than the L shape. And then you can draw a little line, come down just a little bit in. So if you imagine where this line is, like the L shape block, draw like a line straight down from it. Little curve there, and just imagine just a bit further out from that curve is where you do that line. So a little bit in, not too far though. I'm going to go straight into my marker pen here so you can see this very clearly. Now with this frame I'm going to start with the eye. Now the eye is literally really simple. You just bring in, curve back like that. So like a little kind of S curve, just very, very small. And see that goes along that line we just done and touches on the bottom line. From the bottom line just curve line coming up. Just like that. And just where we done that straight line, bring a little kind of black ball shape, but you want it more kind of oval than round. So it's more straight, less kind of, that way. On top of that, just bring a little line at the top, little line at the bottom. And see that line we done above? The first line we done? Come across there, but start from a bit in front of the eye. Okay, just get like a little starting point, and then bring a nice curve. And then just thicken it up, so this bit's smaller, and go thick back to there. And now the key with this is to make sure you start before the eye and after the eye. If you stop in between, it looks a bit kind of weird. you know, the proportion kind of goes off a little bit. Now come down here where we've done this little curve, I'm going to bring in a little curve shape, and then I'm going to bring a little S kind of shape here, so I get like to the end. Now when I get here, I'm going to bring it up straightish, but I'm going to bend it just a touch, so you get a little bridge in the nose. See, so almost straight, just a little bridge, curve in and follow that line up around. I'm not going to go all the way up, I'm just going to stop roughly around there, so a little bit from the top. And now this one we're doing a moustache. So if you imagine front and bottom of the nose, just bring in a curve shape to where this curve was. You see, so you're basically making like a meeting point where both these curves kind of meet. Now from this, you can drag this out. Now you can make this curly like I done in the other picture, or you can make it more straight. Now I prefer the curly, so I'm just going to bring this back and just sketch in like a curve. Now you can really play around with that curl, you can make the curl as curly as you want. So yeah, I'm just going to bring this line in. So you've got the curl. And firstly I'm going to bring in the line that joins up to there. Now for this one I'm going to bring in this second line like this. Now from here I'm going to keep bringing in lines, slowly curving them, so you can see it goes from looking like this line to looking like this line, so you're slowly curving it the other way. And that puts in the moustache. Now just beneath that, bring in like a little kind of, you know, semicircle and then flicking it off to make the lip. I like to bring a tiny little bit of a line down and then bump out for the chin. And we're literally just sketching that line that we drew originally. I'm going to do a little detail line there, just a little bit of cheekbone. You know, you don't have to do that. Just a little line there, just for the forehead. Now at this point, you're going to sketch in a circle shape. Now you want it to be quite big, about the same kind of length as the nose, and you want it to come just a touch bit above that halfway line. Not too much, just a little bit. And then from the outside that you just want to draw an ear shape. Now an ear shape you basically start a line curving out just like that. And you can make it very circular if you want. I like to put a little kind of definition to it, so I'll bend my line up a little bit and flick it in a little bit. On the inside, I'm just going to bring in the curve line, so just copying that curve. When we get to the middle, I'm going to bend it in a little bit. I'm going to bend it down like that. I'm going to bring a little flick and a little flick. One curve in one way, one curve in the other way. Really simple. Now we've done that, I can show you what we've done with the neck. Now remember we've done this curved line here, and then we curved off the back. Now you want to make sure this curve is behind the ear. This is the neck. The neck starts before the ear, it looks really weird. You know, a lot of people make that mistake, so get a nice curve there. Just up touch here. And then just do a nice curve coming from here. Now you want this to come roughly about, where do you see where the edge of the eye bit is? Come down. If you imagine there, you want to start roughly from around here. And now you want to bring in a little curve like this, and then curve the other way to meet the neck. You know, you can make it dead straight if you want. I always like to put that little kind of curve to it. And now this one, yeah, I'm going to give this one a collar. So where we've done that line, I'm going to bring in a line like this, line straight down, line back up, line joining. Right, sorry about that, battery went dead. Right, where was we? Right, yeah, so getting the outline done now. So what we want to do now is try to get this, you know, the hair bit. Now this is the head shape, but obviously you're going to have a bump. We're going to do this hairstyle. So if you draw like a line, just curving a bit higher than the head bit, and then curving in where we stopped here, just on the front of the forehead. Now from here, curve this back, and you've got to remember with hair, with men's hair especially, you get the hair goes back, and you want to curve it roughly, you know, where the end of the eyebrow sort of is, so you get this kind of section here, curve it in, then curve it again, come to a halt just above the halfway down the ear, and that'll create the hairline. From here, back of the head, go up there, and then this line we're going to bring back from the edge just to the back of the hair, so creating like a top bit of the hair. You'll see once we sort of pin it in the style of it. So retro kind of military kind of fade kind of look. So you see we've got that top bit, and I'm not going to do too much line work on this bit. I'm just going to flick some lines just like that, and the rest of that I'm going to do when I colour in, which I'm going to do now I think. Just do this front bit of colour as well. And I go down to where the tie would be. Now that I'm just going to quickly rub out that pencil work. For then I just point out as well, we're going to do the line back from the hair now. See from the hairline, we're going to just keep bringing these lines coming off of the back, joining onto that line. Now at the moment it looks a bit basic, but trust me, once you put a bit of shading in, you know, it's not too much shading, but the shading really just brings all those features out. You know, it's the handy thing with old school now. It's simple but very stylized. So yeah, now obviously I wrote out my line, but if you kept your line in, so you know roughly where that was. So you see here, I'm just using a marker. It's just a very light marker. You can use pencil, paint, anything for this. You know, it's literally just a lighter colour. So it creates that little bit of the hairline. And then this bit here, I'm just going to bring my line here and curve that up. Just create the back bit. Now I'm going to fade this out, so I'm just putting a bit of light at the bottom just for the second. What I'm going to do, grab my black. So I'm going to start off obviously with a bit of black. Now if you're using pencil you can just fade it out. If you're using paint you can use a very similar technique to what I'm using here. So putting a bit of black just there. And now you could use, like if you're using a paintbrush here, you just add a bit of water and you lighten it. And use the same motions, you know, side to side is always a very handy way of blending out. You get a very smooth transition this way. And I'm just going to keep slowly progressing, going lighter and lighter. Now these are flex markers. Now, you can buy them pretty much anywhere. Should be links in my description I think. If there's not, drop me a comment if I forget and I'll put them in there. But like I said, you know, pencils work, paints work, you know, anything works, you know, the medium makes no difference really. You know, the same effects can be achieved with anything. So you can see you get a nice fade out. Now obviously it's a bit wet, once it dries you'll see it go a lot smoother. It's the same thing with water paints, you know, you always want to allow time for it to dry. Alright, and now the hair is quite similar. I'm just going to put in black, and I'm going to basically leave a highlight going through the middle bit of the hair. So I'm kind of going at this angle, you see, so there's like that little gap in the middle. And the exact same principle we just done now, I'm just going to keep fading it out until we have just a little highlight just through that middle bit. Now if you want to get yourself some markers, you know, I recommend Tria, Flex, Copic. I wouldn't really recommend Pro, you know, Pro are good, but only really good for bold colouring. You know, these ones are good because they've got this brush tip. And that's what you want in a marker. If you ain't got a brush tip, it's very hard to blend out. So you see, you just left it at that little highlight just in the middle. Now we've done that, I'm going to go from light to dark here so you can clearly see the transitions in each little area. Now to begin with, I'm going to do a little bit on the nose. So I'm just going to flick this up. Leave a little bit there. This section around the eye. So you see, like I've done this one, you see, you've done around the eye, up from the nose, around the cheekbone, around the chin, just inside little areas. You know, depending on how you got your eye on the light. Like here, I've got the light coming from above, so that's why I've got darker shades here. I like to do it old school this way, that way I can get the dark edge around the outside, so it brings it kind of in. You know, it gives a bit of illusion of, like, you know, 3D-ness. To just around the forehead bit. Just creating a curve here and flicking it out. Now you don't have to quite touch your nose shading, but you want it to be there because this creates that cheek. Just a little bit there, just underneath that bottom lip. Nice thick bit there, just on the bottom strap of the chin. A little bit flicking off of that. You can always have a little bit there and a couple of lines coming in if you want. I'll do the neck bit in a little bit, but I'm just going to show you that. Now those are the key areas, and what obviously I'm going to do now is darken it up around certain areas. Because with old school you want to go very dark and then go out to light. You know, you don't want to do all your shading very, very light. You know, you want to have some bits that blend out from almost, you know, pitch black. You know, you want to make sure at least one part of your picture is jet black and at least one part of it is perfect white. You know, it's the best way with pictures. You know, it don't have to be too much, but if you don't have that full range of contrast, you know, it's never going to be quite what it really could be. So yeah, it's done that darker bit, and I'm just going to blend that out using a lighter one. Just moving that into the shading. And now always remember, you've got to allow time for your markers to dry, to really see the true colour of them. You know, especially on this kind of paper. You know, you don't have to use this kind of paper, I just like using this kind of paper. Little shadow just underneath the ear. I'm going to put it a bit darker though. You know, you can use jet black if you want. Just going to start off with a bit of dark brown, dark shading, and then work out towards it. Now the moustache, you know, very similar to the top of the hair. Just leave a little tiny highlight just there. And the highlight's going to be a lot smaller on the moustache, you know, because I like to have that little bit just towards the front bit there. So I'm not going to go too crazy with shading on that. I'm going to get my black. Flick this up from the bottom. Bring my dark grey. I'm going to bring this around the edge. A little bit there. And a little bit just here. Now this just shows off the bend in the neck. You know, because the neck isn't a perfect cylinder. It's not perfectly round. You know, little bumps in it, and this little bit just will give it that sense of not being perfectly round. You know, you don't have to, but I think sometimes, although old school isn't realistic, you know, that little air realism just really makes it. said, you've got to remember, you've got to allow it time to dry as well. So once it dries, see like this bit of shading here, we'll go like here, or fade. Again. You can make this colour whichever colour you want. I'm going to do like a black fade out. And obviously because I want it black, I'm going to take this to the edge. I'm not going to really fade it out too much. Just like a hint of a fade out. Just like that. Looks a little bit Latino in this one. Now you could add more. You can add like the side bit down here. But for now that's that. And then I'm gonna grab my white highlight. And obviously, if you're using white paper, you can just shade up and leave these white areas like blank to achieve this effect. Let's do a quick sharpen. Yeah, so I'm just going to leave little white circle bit on our nose. Just bring up a little line around the bridge. And down from the forehead. Just bringing out certain little key areas, nothing too major. Little highlight in the eye. A little bit in the pupil if you want it. A little bit in the moustache, just so it's round. A little line through the middle of the lip. Just brings it out. Very good little detail, that one. Little circle on the chin, a little dot. And just little areas you want to bring out the shape. Like see this jaw, it's got like a nice curve to it, so just going to bring up a little line, a little dash. On the cheekbone. You can always bring up a little bit, sit around the bottom of the eye or something. Around the ear. Kind of show off that highlight in the hair. Make a bit of the head, but the neck. So I'm literally just cross certain areas and stuff, just anywhere you want to kind of bring out a little bit. Just play around with the edges, just flick in the edges and see if you like it. If you don't, not to do it next time. Just play around with it. So that's your basic highlights. And now we're done, I'm going to add in, a couple little tattoo bits. So you can leave it like this if you want. You could have a little bit of sort of, flower bits around the edge. I show the flower bits around the edge first, which you can always add to it. So I'm going to do like a classic old school kind of flower. So you start with a circle loop, just like that. Just going to bring in little V's in between each petal bit, just like that. And then it's going to bring a line, curve to it, curve down, and just diagonal lines across. Just create a leaf. You can create these as big or as small as you want. I like to make mine quite big. You can have words like I've done on that one. You can put like classic or something like that. Extra stuff around the outside. Just quickly colour that in a little bit. So I'm just going to colour and just leave a little white edge. If you're going colour, you could always put this in red or something. Red's always cool. half of the leaf. Touch of white. When I've done that, I can find a couple of toes. So one of my ones I always love doing. I always love putting a 13 on mine. It's just one of the things I love doing. So let's get you a 13. We'll start it. You know, I've noticed I'm doing these with a light marker, so it's different colour. If you're doing colour, you know, using like a pale blue always looks good sometimes, or a grey. Now, if you're using jet black, sometimes it looks a bit, even though it's probably the most like a real tattoo, it doesn't quite work with the old school style sometimes. And just on the neck here, I'm going to do like a rose bit. You see my tutorial, I was going to do a basic one. So it's just like a little S curve come round, circular shape just come around the edge of that. Make a little ball shape around the edge, just like that. And some basic petal bits. Little leafy bits. Little line detail. And voila, there you have it. That is how to draw an old school face. I hope that helps. Remember, you know, any slight little differences, you know, see a different kind of moustache, you know, and then it just, you can change up very easy, you know. I'll teach you how to do this one and this one another tutorial as well if you want. And if you want to see them, just leave in the comments, let me know. Subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm the Broken Puppet, and I will see you next time. Peace out.